Hello, Debbie. How are you doing? I didn't see you come in because I was outside looking. Debbie, something's going on. Something's going on. I just turned my flashlight on out there. It's real foggy, but in the flashlight, it looked like particles floating all over the place. Debbie, this might be that fog that came upon that town in the USA, and supposedly them people they got sick. So I came running back in, but it's like a mist or something. It's like particles. I wish I could grab the camera and show you folks, but it's unbelievable. It's pretty foggy out tonight, so be safe. And I don't know what this fog is. It's very weird. When I turn the porch light on, you can see stuff floating around like it's I don't know. I don't know. It's pitch dark out there, but it's foggy. You can't even see the green light barely on the building across the way. Not really, not too much. It's pretty foggy out there. I don't know what's going on. It's like it got foggy today, and but now that it's dark and I put a flashlight on it, yeah, I see what they were talking about on YouTube that one day. It was on the news where people woke up and it was foggy and particles or whatever were in the air, and they thought people were breathing it in. And it was like taking over them or getting them sick or whatever. Debbie, what have they done? I don't know. Trying to look at the weather to see what's up. The House is expected to vote on the Iran war resolution thing. Yikes. Volume. What is my volume on? Turn that down. Yeah. Well, I was going to show you what the some card readers are saying that they're looking for these bad group of card readers or whatever. But anyways, they were throwing the cards today, Debbie, like they were dice, and they were just coming out. You know, these people they're crazy. They're uh, trying to set people up, trying to kill people. A whole town is supposedly getting ready to be indicted. The whole town, Debbie, it was corrupt. It's probably gonna be on the news. All right, stop. I can't stop, Debbie. They're solving cases. Their whole communities are going down. Debbie, don't you understand that? Whole communities were involved in covering up fraud and scam against not only me, others. It's just unreal. Why do us retards always get blamed for everything? Debbie, why do us idiots always get blamed for everything? Debbie, you can't even see the green light anymore on the side of the house, on the side of the apartment over there. That's how foggy it is. That's how dark it is out there and foggy. She saw that she, Debbie, I don't practice it. I don't know anything about it, but they're solving cases. And she's right. They are taking down a whole community of people that were fraud, all kinds of things. Police not answering calls, people not checking in on things, all kinds of stuff. Debbie, it's pretty foggy out there because you can't even see that green light. That porch light is on over there and you can't even see it. These are the nights you got to worry about, folks. Make sure you keep your doors locked, keep the cameras rolling in case we miss anything. She solved a case, I think, of a woman that killed her own kid or something, or did something bad to a kid or something, some woman or something. Or maybe they're looking for one of them that killed their own kid or did something bad to a kid or whatever. Who knows? She probably spanked her kid or something. And we don't know if any of it's true. I don't know. No, we're all abusers. Not, they're label. It's what do they call it? Stereotyping. No, everybody's a killer. Everybody's everything. Debbie, were you watching JLR today? If you're still here, were you watching JLR? Did you see the lady that was on there? She's a spirit lady, I think. One of these people. One of you remember Poltergeist? And that little old lady came walking in the house, real short, after Carol Ann disappeared, and she came into the house and everything. I smell the demons. And then she went through the house, and then afterwards, and when they saved the little girl, and I said, "This house has been cleaned." And then she goes on and leaves and everything. That's who that was there, probably. Yeah. I thought it was Miss Magnolia at first, but then I was like, I don't think that is. But I guess it's one of these cleaning ladies, psychic ladies, whatever you want to call them. Jesus' name, what is going on, Debbie? It's so dark out there. So foggy. Debbie, did you ever see the movie Fog? The original Fog? That was a good movie. It's kind of weird, but it was cool. Debbie, it's dark out there. It's foggy. You can't see. You can't. Anyways, you wear glasses too. So you can't see what I'm talking about. There's a lot going on, folks. I don't want to lie to you, folks. The government now is even coming out saying it's demonic. Remember, we watched that video the other day of them talking about the government, and he was an ex-agent or something like that. And someone commented in there, and he said, "It is demonic, what we're dealing with. It is. I'm not going to lie to the American people. It's just corruption, evil, voodoo, Nakatoni, rigatoni, some guy Tony trying to kill me. I'm not sure. That's what they're saying. And this card reader might be right. Debbie, what if she is right? I'm going to ask, what if she is right? I know you're retired from all this stuff. You used to know all this stuff. But you're retired now. But help me, Obi-Wan, Debbie Fox. You're my only hope. So now we got to go through every guy named Tony because Tony is trying to kill me, trying to kill me or do it himself. Or I think that the card reader threw out a scrambled egg card with bacon, and she said, or he hired a hitman. And I can see how them eggs and bacon added up to a hitman trying to take me out. And I guess people around here hate me, can't stand me, want to kill me. Some said they wanted to use me as some kind of a experiment. I don't know. I'm scared to death. Debbie, why is the fog coming in and there's particles in the fog like it's fiberglass in the air? It's like fiberglass. It's unbelievable. It's just floating around. It's like, I don't know, little water drop. You can see it. It's like alien. I'm not sure. I'm gonna shut up. I drank too much of that coffee today. I'm very upset at that coffee for fake advertising. You know it's true, Debbie. I am telling you, stop listening to the. It is dark. It is dark outside, but these women are solving crimes left and right, Debbie. Left and right. I give all glory to God. If I solve the case, all my glory goes to God because I know nothing, right? I do anything right. It's God. Let me see what. Oh, here comes Melissa Higginbotham, right? Of course, to try and beat me up some more. Higginbotham, are you Tony, the killer that's trying to kill me, to keep me hush from dark secrets that I know? Debbie says Zelda Rubinstein. She died in 2010. It might be. I don't know, Debbie. This fog is coming in. You can't even see the green porch light on over there. There's particles flying in the air. I ran back inside once I turned on the flashlight and all these things were floating all around. It's like, what the heck? And then it popped into my head. I just seen something on YouTube a while back. Shoot, who was walking around with JLR? Wasn't it a ghost? I don't know. There was some dude that showed up there yesterday, and he seemed like he was either drunk out of his mind or on something. He wasn't there to dance. He was there to party. So he was serious because on the streets, when you say that, you're there to party. I guess it means you're ready to fight somebody or something or take people out. Who knows? I don't know. Help me, Obi-Wan W. Fox. You're my only hope. It's crazy out. It's pitch dark out. Can you see the green porch light on over there, Debbie? I'm gonna have to hook my floodlight on, my security floodlight. Light this whole place up with 3,000 watts of bulb. You can't see it? Usually we see it. I don't know, it's just floating around out there. There's barely any wind at all. It's pretty weird.
up for them. I trust quality products from Advanced.
DNA is something that investigators are using to try to identify the suspect that showed up at Nancy Guthrie's home. But another type of forensics can also be used, and that is digital forensics. It's something that was used in the Brian Kohberger case when investigators were able to track his cell phone usage. And it's something that the sheriff here in Pima County tells us they're also looking into in this case to find Nancy Guthrie and the suspects. It may be, according to digital forensics experts, that they'll be able to track this person by their cell phone activity or sort of the digital footprint that they left behind. This is just one of the many ways that investigators now continue to try to work this case 32 days since Nancy went missing. We did talk to the sheriff this week, and he did say that they're continuing.
You know, Debbie, I'm really starting to think that a lot of people now are coming forward and saying that the police, FBI, whatever, didn't react how they should have reacted right away. And it took 13 days or whatever for them to even come around and realize what was going on. And we're seeing this in a lot of towns. Now, what does this prove? You know, well, for some criminal analyzers, they're coming out and saying on YouTube that this might be corruption. This might be a group of people, whatever, a covenant, whatever, where they're within the government or whatever, and they just didn't want to do anything about it. That's why it took so long to them not locking down the property and keeping it locked down, them not even responding to some stuff. Well, it could be. I don't know, because we really don't know if they were contacted when they said they were contacted. It's just pretty crazy. Yeah, you don't know. It's so crazy. They're just building the perfect storm.
Continuing to try to look at the items of clothing that the suspect was wearing, but he told us that as they're looking at the Walmart sales data, they are learning that it is possible the suspect didn't actually buy that Walmart backpack from Walmart. They raised the idea that it could have been purchased at eBay or maybe another third-party site, which would make it harder to track. We also know that investigators are looking at thousands of hours of video footage in the area, and the sheriff did confirm that the traffic cameras around Nancy's home does record video. They're looking into all of that.
And on February 16th, Sheriff Chris Nanos stood in front of cameras and used 8 words that should have ended this conversation entirely. He said, "Not one single person in the family is a suspect." And then he went home, and his investigators kept the car, and nobody asked him why. And we are still waiting for an answer 16 days later, because the same department that told the world Tommaso Cioni and his wife had been cleared, processed, and eliminated from this investigation has also confirmed officially on the record through a statement to a CBS journalist that their vehicle is, and I'm quoting directly, still part of the investigation. 2 statements, 1 department, 0 explanation for why both can be true at the same time. That is what tonight is about. Subscribe before we go any further. Hit the bell. This channel does not cover what happened. It covers what the official story refuses to explain. If that is the channel you have been looking for, or you just found it, subscribe. Bell lets son-in-law, who showed up at Christmas dinners wearing matching pajamas and family photographs posted to social media. That Saturday evening, the 3 of them, Nancy, Annie, and Tommaso, had dinner together at Annie and Tommaso's home. They ate. They played games. At some point in the evening, the gathering wound down the way ordinary family evenings wind down, and someone had to drive Nancy back to her home in the Catalina foothills, a quiet suburb northeast of Tucson. Tommaso drove. At 9:48 p.m., his car pulled up to Nancy Guthrie's home. According to the Pima County Sheriff's Department, whose investigators reviewed the available surveillance and timeline evidence, Tommaso waited. He did not drop her at the curb and leave. He waited until Nancy was inside the house before he drove away. The garage door.
All right. right, Debbie. Are you listening to this, Debbie? Do you hear the first mistake? Now, I don't know if this guy knows what he just said. Now, this whole time in the beginning of this case, what have we heard from family, police, and everybody? That Mrs. Gunthries wouldn't be able to walk 50 feet by herself. But this guy just said that Tommaso drove her home and he waited for her to get into the house and then drove off. So did he just sit in the car and Miss Nancy walked herself into her house? Or did he walk her into the house and then leave? Which I do believe there would be cameras that would have picked that up. But we haven't seen that. Debbie Fox says, where is the brother? He has not been seen at all. What brother are you talking about? Tommaso's or the family's brother? Savannah's brother.
Door closed at 9:50 p.m. Investigators believe, based on that garage door timestamp, that Nancy Guthrie was home, safe, and heading to bed. Tommaso Cione drove away. That is the last confirmed moment anyone can place Nancy Guthrie alive and unharmed. It is worth pausing on that detail and the fact.
Well, the fact is, without footage of Mrs. Guthrie going into the house, someone could have had the garage door opener and opened it and then closed it and drove away. Parked down the street and then went back and did whatever to Mrs. Guthrie. But what if it happened? What if she was bleeding before this occurrence? What if she was bleeding when Tommaso or whoever picked her up? What if, how come we haven't seen an Uber driver that they're saying an Uber driver picked up Miss Guthrie? How come we haven't seen him being questioned on YouTube? So what if they picked her up and there was an altercation and she was bleeding on the way to this meeting or this dinner? Is there any footage of Miss Guthrie that night at Tommaso's house? We haven't seen that. They said he had to be someone who knew the home or house and everything, yeah. He'd have to be.
That he waited in a case where every piece of behavior connected to the last person to see the victim gets scrutinized to the molecule. The fact that he stayed in that driveway until she was inside before leaving is not a small thing. It is the behavior of someone who wanted to make sure she got in safely. It is not the behavior documented in cases where the last driver had any intention of returning. Investigators noted it. The sheriff's department included it in the official timeline. It is part of the public record, and it is part of why the early reporting that named Tommaso as a prime suspect drew such a sharp and direct rebuke from the sheriff. That rebuke was not a courtesy.
We have always gone our own way with herbs. That's nature's way, uncompromising in the way we test it.
It was a statement grounded in what investigators actually found when they looked at the full picture. What happened in the hours after that garage door closed is what this entire investigation has been trying to reconstruct. At 1:47 a.m. on February 1st, the doorbell camera at Nancy's home disconnected. Her pacemaker application stopped syncing with her iPhone at 2:28 a.m. A digital signal that something had interrupted the ordinary silence of a sleeping 84-year-old woman's night. By Sunday morning, when Nancy failed to appear at St. Philip's in the Hills Episcopal Church, a friend called her family.
Well, that's another thing that was a lie. She never went to church. She was an online church person, and they said you couldn't see her face or anything. It wasn't like she was live, like if we were doing a live right now. So we have no idea if that's true, and they said they only contacted her because her tithes weren't paid. So we don't know if she was missing before that night that she was supposed to be at this online church.
Children checked on her. She was gone. The Pima County Sheriff's Department received a welfare check request at approximately noon on February 1st, and officers arrived at 12:15 p.m. What they found when they arrived was not a woman who had wandered off. It was a crime scene, bloodstains on the porch, confirmed through forensic testing to belong to Nancy Guthrie. Evidence that she had been taken from her own home against her will in the middle of the night while Tucson slept. And here is the first thing this case asks you to hold in your mind, because we will come back to it. At the moment, investigators established that crime scene on the afternoon of February 1st, the last known person to have seen Nancy Guthrie alive was the man who drove her home the night before. That man is Tommaso Chiesa.
Well, actually, the last people to see her alive was the daughter of Nancy, the one that was married or dating or whatever, Tommaso. We don't know what happened at that house and if she was even there. I mean, hopefully they come out with footage. This is Tommaso's house, and this is Mrs. Guthrie's getting out of the Uber driver for dinner. But it's been, a month, and we're not seeing none of that. So something is fishy here. Police not doing what they're saying, or, I don't know. I think it's corruption, if you ask me, or something fishy is going on. Another thing, you have somebody that's missing from the house. They had no dogs out there sniffing around the property or the neighborhood to see if they can pick up a scent. And just the whole thing, and then locking down and then releasing the house, then locking it down, then releasing it, locking it down. And then going back and forth to Tommaso's and then these other people. So something fishy is definitely going on. Now, a lot of people are coming out and they're getting upset. A lot of people are saying this was abuse. That's why there was a card on the window or the door of adult, or what is it, elders protection or something like that, agency of the police or something. So what was really going on? I don't know. Was she being abused and nobody knew about it? Not even her one daughter that's famous or whatever on news. I don't know.
That is not an accusation. That is a fact of timing. And in a criminal investigation, facts of timing define where you start. They define whose phone you ask for, whose computer, whose car. We will come back to that car. But first, let's talk about what the investigation found when it got there. When law enforcement processes a crime scene in a kidnapping case, their first question is always the same. Who was the last person to see the victim? That person becomes the anchor of the timeline. Everything they know, everywhere they were, every piece of physical evidence connected to them, all of it becomes material to understanding what happened and when. Tommaso Cioni was that anchor. Not because investigators suspected him of anything specific in those first hours, but because the protocol of a serious criminal investigation does not wait for suspicion. It collects, it preserves, it eliminates. You do not build a case by waiting until you are certain someone is guilty and then collecting evidence. You build a case by touching everything connected to the last known moment of the victim and working outward from there. Within
I don't know if it would be him. I mean, he might have had something to do with it. I don't know. They're all innocent until proven guilty on this channel, at least. Could he have something to do with that? He might have, but having his hands on the scene of the crime or whatever, I don't think so. Maybe hired somebody or something. That's possible. Maybe he pissed off somebody and this was retaliation. Someone knew that his step or his mother-in-law lived there or something. But a lot of people now are coming out and saying, why was this little old lady in her condition, pacemaker, could barely walk, on medication? Why didn't she have someone living with her? Now, Debbie earlier said something about Tomas and the daughter, who would know better than people that lived with Nancy, but I don't think the daughter and Tomas lived there, did they? I thought they had their own place 2 miles away.
In the first days of the investigation, the exact date has not been made public, investigators approached Annie Guthrie and Tommaso Cioni and asked for consent to examine their vehicle. They did not go to a judge. They did not apply for a search warrant. They did not argue probable cause. They asked. And the answer they got was yes. That detail, the consent, is critical to understanding everything that followed. And we will explain exactly why in a moment. But before we get there, let's understand what else investigators collected in those early days, because the car was not the only thing they took. They took phones, they took computers, they examined Annie and Tommaso's home. The sheriff would later describe this publicly on record to KOLD 13 News and USA Tucson. We talked to them. We took their phones. We took their computers. We processed their vehicles. We processed their homes. That is a comprehensive forensic engagement with two people. That is not a quick conversation and a handshake. Phones, computers, vehicles, homes, each of those items carries its own forensic profile, its own digital history, its own physical record of where it has been and what it has been near. And all of it was given voluntarily. The FBI had joined the investigation by February 2nd. The federal footprint in this case expanded rapidly. Agents on the ground in Tucson, doorbell camera footage being reviewed, ransom notes being analyzed, surveillance networks being queried. By February 5th,
all right, you see him walking around out there in the desert. Why didn't they have dogs out there? Now, another thing, we're going to break from this real quick and we're going to go to something else real quick. So hold on a minute. So this is breaking news.
Savannah's brother that's just been posted on social media. They've just released it. Let's play it for our viewers, please.
This is Cameron Guthrie. I'm speaking for the Guthrie family. Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you and we are waiting for contact.
All right, we're going to go back to Tracy in a moment. I want to get right out to Liz Kreutz, who's been leading our coverage out there in Tucson. Liz, so you've seen this video. Now our viewers have seen this video. It's upsetting because it sounds like this deadline's approaching and the Guthries have not been contacted about how to make contact with this alleged abductor if this is legitimate.
Exactly, Tom. I mean, I'll tell you, it's 5:11 right now where we.
All right, let's get back to this other. Hold on a minute. Yeah, this is pretty weird. All right, let me jump over here. Yeah, I don't. All I can.
Sheriff Nanos held a full press conference at the Pima
Demonic.
County Sheriff's Department headquarters and released a detailed official timeline of Nancy's disappearance to the public. The case had gone national, it had gone international. The name Nancy Guthrie was being reported from London to Lagos. And somewhere in the middle of all of that, Annie and Tommaso Cione's car sat in an evidence lot being examined by forensic technicians who had been handed the keys voluntarily by the people it belonged to. Here is what we do not know, and what the public record has never addressed. What specifically did investigators find in that vehicle during the initial forensic examination? What were they looking for? And what was the result? The sheriff has never answered those questions at a press conference. The PCSD has never addressed them in a public statement. And what we do know, what was confirmed by a CBS 5 journalist on February 27th, is that the car is still there a month after it was taken, still in evidence, still officially part of the investigation. We are going to sit inside that gap now because it is the gap that defines this entire case. Hit like right now, if you are watching this for the first time, the algorithm decides whether this video reaches the people who need to see it based on that like button, one tap. Do it now and keep watching. 16 days into the investigation, something changed publicly. Sheriff Chris Nanos, the elected head of the Pima County Sheriff's Department, chose February 16th to make his clearest and most direct statement about the status of Nancy Guthrie's family as suspects in the case. He did not hold a formal press conference. He spoke directly to KOLD 13 News, the local Tucson NBC affiliate. And what he said was not vague. It was not diplomatic. It was not carefully hedged law enforcement language designed to preserve investigative flexibility. It was a declaration. His exact words, as reported and confirmed by KOLD 13 News on February 16th, 2026, not one single person in the family is a suspect. So I am telling everyone, effective today, you guys need to knock it off, quit. People are hurting. They are victims. I am saying they are clear. We have cleared them.
Are you actively investigating the son-in-law in this case? Well, there were reports earlier this week and you refuted that. You said you haven't eliminated everybody. Have you eliminated him or come close to it, or are you actively looking at him?
We're actively looking at everybody we come across in this case. Everybody. We would be irresponsible if we didn't talk to everybody.
I agree. It's the same thing we're going through in this town, here and everything. Right? People are saying, "No, these people are luring you, Johnny. They're luring you. You're not talking to Debbie. It's not Debbie. It's some lady Debbie, but not Debbie Fox Debbie, little Tasmanian devil redhead Debbie. It's some other woman that lives here that was luring. I don't know, something like that. I don't know. Who knows?" That's what they're trying to say. That we weren't. For all we know, someone had her devices. All right, hold on, Deb. Let me see it. Hold on. All right, this is the guy they're saying that is jealous. He's jealous, Terry. He's a military guy. He went to Desert Storm or something like that, and he's not as famous as Savannah Guthrie, but he's like a hero or whatever. He's like a special forces dude, and they're trying to say now that he's jealous of his own sister. Maybe they all were vampires. Maybe they thought they were talking to certain people, but they really weren't. They weren't. Somebody else had her device, her phone, her, you know. So that's the brother in a photo with his sister. Boy, I'll tell you what, it went south, didn't it?
The Uber driver, the gardener, the pool person, whoever, everybody is so cliche, but everybody's still a suspect in our eyes. That's just how we look at things and think as cops. Does that mean we have a prime suspect? No, and the family's been very cooperative. They've done everything we've asked of them, and we want that relationship to continue. And sometimes people can be mean out there, and that can really harm us and harm our efforts.
Are you researching dental implants?
There's a lot of dental offices that'll talk about doing their teeth in the day process.
Read those words a second time. We have cleared them. Past tense, completed action, not we are in the process of evaluating them, not we have no evidence against them at this time, not they are cooperating and we will continue to assess their role. He said, we have cleared them. The work is done. The conclusion has been reached. These people are not suspects. He did not stop there. He followed that statement with a description of the process that produced the clearance. We talked to them. We took their phones. We took their computers. We processed their vehicles. We processed their homes. And then he issued a written formal statement to reinforce what he had said publicly. The written statement read, to be clear, the Guthrie family, to include all siblings and spouses, have been cleared as possible suspects in this case. The family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious, and our victims in this case, to suggest otherwise is not only wrong, it is cruel. The Guthrie family are victims plain and simple, all siblings and spouses. That formulation is not accidental. The sheriff is a law enforcement professional. He knows the difference between saying the immediate family and saying all siblings and spouses. He chose the broader, more specific language deliberately to close the door on speculation about Annie Guthrie, about Tommaso Cioni, about every person connected to Nancy by blood or marriage. They are cleared. They are victims. The suggestion that they are anything else is not just wrong. It is, in the sheriff's own word, cruel. Take that further. The sheriff was not simply making a legal statement. He was making a moral one. He was asking the public and the media to recognize that they had been doing damage to people who were already suffering one of the worst things a family can experience: a missing mother, a grandmother taken from her home in the middle of the night.
Yeah, but my question is, the guy that's making this video, if the world is as corrupt as we know it is, and we know this world runs around rich people, then could this have been covered up? They were attempting to try and cover it up. They wanted everyone to stay away the focus, which is 101 investigating, away from the family. And that was right away. You know, what investigation did they do other than take their phones or their vehicle? I don't know. But could it be what people are saying, that it's corrupt? Well, then if it's corrupt, yeah. If you got police on your side, then yeah, you'd have to go up to higher ups, maybe internal affairs or FBI or someone higher up, and let them know, hey, you're being railroaded. They're covering up something. The one daughter's worth $40 million. The mother's worth tons of money. Or was Savannah the leech, or the were these people vampires and they were living off poor Mrs. Guthrie in Savannah? I don't know. Something's going on. I got wind they're trying to plan a hit or something. I don't know. Pretty crazy if you ask me. This guy's military, Debbie. This is the brother. He's military. I think he's in like special ops or something. Black Frogs or something they call them.
And layered on top of that grief, the additional weight of having their names dragged through social media, their movements documented by camera crews, their faces analyzed by strangers on the internet building theories about a crime they did not commit. The word cruel was deliberately chosen by a man who knew the full picture, who had seen the phones, the computers, the vehicle, the home, and was telling the public that the theory they had been entertaining was not just wrong, but actively harmful. That is a strong statement. It is a complete statement. It is the kind of statement that should have put this chapter of the story to bed. And the car is still in the evidence lot. And then ask yourself this question, the question that this video was built to ask, because if that statement means what it appears to mean, if those words reflect the full reality of this investigation on February 16th, then what exactly is the car still doing in the evidence lot? The sheriff said we processed their vehicles. He used that phrase as part of the evidence of their clearance. But here is the thing about the word processed. It does not mean finished. It does not mean returned. Processing a vehicle means you examined it. It does not automatically follow that what you found inside it has been fully analyzed, fully understood, and fully exhausted as a source of investigative leads. There is a version of reality in which both of these statements are simultaneously true. The family has been cleared and the car is still being held. We are going to show you exactly what that version of reality looks like and who first identified it. Share this video right now.
Well, that's kind of weird because you don't process anything unless you're processing it into evidence. So if he said they processed the vehicle, that means they process it, and they're going to say that's evidence. They still have a car, they're saying. Let the team know, keep an eye out. They're probably doing dry runs around her or whatever. And I think that's what we seen in the Nancy Guthrie case was a dry run, probably more than once or twice.
Now, before we go to the next chapter, if about the status of Annie Guthrie and Tommaso Cione's vehicle, the official response she received, confirmed on the record from the department, was this. All we can say right now, the vehicle is still part of the investigation. 11 words, no timeline given for its return, no explanation of what aspect of the investigation still required it, no acknowledgement of the tension between that statement and what the sheriff had said 11 days earlier. The vehicle is still part of the investigation, the same vehicle whose processing the sheriff had cited as evidence of the family's clearance was, at the time of that statement, still in the custody of the department that cleared them. Now, there are people who will tell you that this is not a contradiction, that processing a vehicle for forensic evidence and retaining a vehicle as part of an ongoing investigation are not mutually exclusive, that the car could have been fully examined for evidence against the family and still be held because it contains evidence relevant to the crime more broadly. And
Well, that looks like one of the vehicles in the video that drove past the house. So, yeah. And what is that in the back of that vehicle? It looks like, I'll be dipped. It looks like one of them big containers that you put clothes in or whatever, and it's got like a lid on it. A tote. Is that what they call it? A giant tote. In the back of the vehicle, maybe. Or is that the back seat? One of the back seats. I don't know, but they still have the car. And if they're processing it, well, I don't know. Maybe they did process it for evidence or whatever. Debbie, what do you think? Well, Miss Fox says, yep, they were. Let's see what Kel said. I'm the big take-home message. Protect your loved ones. Everyone in Nancy's life let her down, including herself. She should have been keeping herself safe. Well, she had a dog. I don't know what happened to the dog. Something just suspicious about this case. It was a little dog that died in December. What did it die of? I wonder what it died of. I wonder if it died of Honta. Something's weird about this case. Something's weird. You know, Debbie, Kelt, do you think it's possible someone went to go get Mrs. Guthrie earlier in the day, and the trail of blood that we're seeing is her on her way to supposedly her dinner date. And then the guy goes back. I mean, that's why we're not seeing Mrs. Guthrie's leave that house. We ain't seeing her leave that house before or after. There's something very fishy here. That looks like a blue tote. Looks like a tote. In the back, it looks like a big, giant blue tote in the back of that vehicle. No, that's all right. We're all in the shitter. All you could do is wipe real good and flush it. Flush the past down the road. You know, here's the thing. This is what I'm trying to get out to the people, is the same thing happened to me. You think you're talking to somebody, but it's really not the person that you're looking on the photo, right? That you're messaging, emailing, or whatever. It's someone else, right? And that leaves a digital signal, right? And that's why the government's like, hey, Johnny, you ain't talking to the people you think you're talking to. It's some crazy down the hallway, right? Yeah, and that's pretty much what happened with me. And that could be happening here in Nancy's case, meaning she was nowhere around there, but her phone was, her heart monitor and her Apple Watch was, but she was gone. Who knows how long before all this happened? It could have been a week. It could have been 6 weeks. You know, maybe somebody in the family panicked and came up with this elaborate idea or whatever. Maybe she passed from, you know, a lot of people on YouTube. We have no idea on this channel if it's real. Anything that these people are saying, it's all hearsay, speculation, whatever. But there's people saying that was she abused. That's why the adult department went there to check on her of abuse or whatever. I mean, if these people are that good and they can hack your computer and they know every move, and that's true. That is the truth. They'll know everything, your password, whatever, right? They know your every move or whatever. Then yeah. Would she have known though? I don't know. You would think she would have been protected, being that her son was a black frog, military guy, and all the stuff. You think she would have been protected by some kind of a team, a security team or something. You know, being as famous as Savannah Guthrie's is, you think they would have had a team.
Those people are not entirely wrong, but they are also not engaging honestly with the specific language the sheriff used on February 16th, because he did not say the vehicle had been examined. He said the vehicle had been processed, and he presented that processing as completed evidence of the family's clearance. If the vehicle is still part of the investigation after it was presented as processed and closed, the public deserves an explanation for what changed, or what was incomplete, or what was found. And that explanation has not been given. What has been given instead is analysis from people with the professional credentialing to read between the lines of official statements, because the official statements have stopped short of telling the truth about what is actually happening with that car. The most significant of that analysis came from Jennifer Coffindaffer, Coffindaffer is a retired FBI special agent with 28 years of field experience. She was a SWAT team member. She now contributes to News Nation as a crime analyst and runs a YouTube channel called Break the Case with Jen Coffindaffer, FBI, where she covers high-profile cases with the kind of forensic literacy that only comes from nearly 3 decades of building them. On March 1st, Coffindaffer published a video specifically addressing the car, and she began by saying something that almost no other analyst covering this case had said clearly.
John Deere has long been a symbol of hardworking America, and now that spirit is coming to America's most comfortable footwear.
She said the fact that the vehicle was taken by consent rather than by warrant is not a red flag against the family. It is the opposite. Her exact words: their searches have been consent searches. In other words, law enforcement didn't have any probable cause to believe they were involved. They got consent. If they had probable cause, I could tell you this as an FBI agent: if I have probable cause, I'm not going to get consent. Why would I use consent when I know that in a court of law, it's going to be argued that the person was coerced? Let that land for a moment. A 28-year FBI veteran is telling you, if investigators had believed Annie or Tommaso committed a crime, they would not have asked permission to take the car. They would have gone to a judge and gotten a warrant. The fact that they asked and the family said yes is the procedural tell that points toward innocence rather than guilt. So why is the car still there? Coffindaffer had a theory for that too, and it is not the theory that has been circulating online. She asked a series of questions in her video that reframe the car entirely. Is it possible that she was tracked from Annie and Tommaso's house? Is it possible a tracker could have been put on there? Is it possible that a person could have interfaced with that car and thus they're looking at fingerprints? Is it possible they're looking for possible DNA? A tracker not placed by Annie or Tommaso, placed on them by whoever took Nancy Guthrie. Think about what that means. If the person who abducted Nancy surveilled her movements beforehand, if they were watching her, tracking her pattern, waiting for the right moment, one of the easiest ways to know where she was and when she would be home and alone would be to place a GPS tracking device on the vehicle of the people she spent time with. They would have known she was at Annie's house that evening. They would have known she was being driven home. They would have known exactly when to be waiting. And that kind of premeditated.
Well, if you're saying they're that good, dude, then they didn't even have to track her. They hacked her phone. Hacking her phone would have sent a signal every place she was, within that town, out of state, whatever. So, but who would track her and why? Why would somebody want to take her in the first place? Now, like Kelt was saying, a lot of people are upset that this 84-year-old woman was left home alone in the condition she was and didn't have a live-in nurse or someone there 24/7 or hospice or whatever they call it, and out in the middle of the desert. I mean, it's a beautiful home, but what kind of security you got? And then if word got out, hey, Mrs. Guthrie's, Savannah Guthrie, the one that's real rich on the news and everything, her mom lives down the road here, about a couple miles. What kind of security you got? You can have all the cameras in the world, but if you don't have someone there that's brave enough to take the shot when you're in danger, what do you got? Pretty much nothing. Just camera. It's being documented that someone killed you. Someone took you and whatever. They should have got her a pit bull. They should have got her a pit bull, called them Spike, and trained them. Or a German Shepherd, a trained German Shepherd that, if anyone would have came in that house, that German Shepherd would have ate it alive. There's a lot of questions. We can say, what if? What if? But I agree with a lot of other people. It's fishy. And why is it fishy? Because she's an 84-year-old woman on a pacemaker, medication, and she lives alone, in $1 million house, $6 million house, whatever. No gated community, no security. And the controversy with her daughter and all these politicians and big pharma and everything, you think she would have had a lot better, at least somebody on the property or lived within a gated community that is guarded by guards. Let's see what's going on. I am cleaning kitchen, everybody. Well, when you're done over there, can you stop over here and clean mine? I'd appreciate it. There ain't no one cleans like a woman. I can use mine. Let's see what Kelt's saying. It's like a $700K home, which really isn't so Manson. Housing costs have skyrocketed. Yeah. Well, it was Nancy Guthrie had a beautiful home. I imagine it had probably be $1 million. Had a pool, had a guest house, had we're seeing similar like that actor and his wife that got cut up by that kid or their own son or whatever. You made chicken liver. It makes a mess. Oh, chicken liver. Did you bread it and then deep fry it? Deep fried chicken livers. Oh, they're good. I'm getting hungry again. I just had a couple slices of pizza, but yeah, I'm hungry again after hearing about chicken livers.
Surveillance, the kind that requires days or weeks of advanced preparation, the kind that involves physically accessing someone else's property to attach a device without their knowledge, is not the profile of an opportunistic criminal. It is the profile of someone with intent, someone with a plan, someone who had identified Nancy Guthrie as a target and had been building the conditions for her abduction long before January 31st arrived. The FBI's suspect profile reflects exactly that level of sophistication. The masked figure on the doorbell camera arrived at Nancy's home in the early hours of February 1st wearing gloves, wearing a ski mask, wearing a holster with a weapon, carrying a specific 25-liter Ozark Trail Hiker backpack. That is not improvised. That is prepared. That is someone who knew what they were doing, knew where they were going, and had been ready for the moment the house went quiet. A GPS tracker on Annie and Tommaso's vehicle would fit that profile perfectly. It would be one of several preparation steps taken by someone who had been watching this family long enough to know when the opportunity would come. That reframes the car entirely. It moves the vehicle from the category of incriminating to the category of victimized.
Our brains are incredible, but memory.
Well, now keep in mind, family is always first they look at, right? Some Celts saying someone that who wanted revenge. Yeah, Debbie is mad at me right now because I was watching one of these. Someone wanted revenge on me too, and these dang card readers might have cracked the case, if not mine. This one, I'm not sure, but Debbie's like, "Don't listen to him." I'm like, "All right, I won't." I don't practice it or anything, but I guess some guy, Big Fat Tony, is trying to kill me with some people around here, and the people I'm talking to might not even be the people that I really think that's talking to, but it's somebody else that hacked their accounts. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Are these people that good? Were they? And supposedly, from what I found out, yes, They can hack someone's account that you're talking to and then talk to you thinking that they're them. That explains why Debbie said last night she was going to rip my head off, crap down my neck, and then sew it back on. And I was like, that don't sound like little Debbie. It just don't sound like little Debbie. But it could have been somebody hacking through the system that was hacking her to try and get to me, possibly, or someone hacking me trying to get to her. It's crazy, but possible. It's very possible and plausible. Let me see what Kel's saying. Let me see. Don't go freaking me out again, Johnny. Are you stoned again, Kel? You need to chill on that. Coffindoffer called him porch guy. Nope, bridge guy. Yeah. Well, everybody's bridge guy now. There's people actually walking around in other countries claiming they're bridge guy now, walking around with hands in their pocket and everything. But it could be numerous things. And the world we live in today and the technology, you can set anybody up. You can set it. Could this have been a setup? Yeah. To set up who? The family. There's people coming out making videos now. Remember JLRs yesterday? That guy walked up that said one of these lawyers and police officers or whatever was a cocaine dealer or something like that and was corrupt or something. Let me see what Debbie's saying. Johnny makes me mad, but I've been putting up with him for 3+ years. No, I don't make you. You make me mad, and then for some reason you try and blame me for it. I don't know. We're not. The past is the past. We're trying to solve a case. Are you mad because the card reader said Fat Tony Belosco was trying to kill me? And these women around here are all working for him and hacking my computers and trying to act like Debbie Fox. And I told the police, there ain't no way these women look as good as Debbie Fox. Right? And then we got all these people walking around doing dry runs around my apartment. I'm dumb, Miss Fox, but I'm not that dumb. Now, Kelt's all flipped out because she's half-baked on some mushroom grape cannabis or something she's smoking. And now she's all flipped out again. Let me see what's going on in my chat. Debbie claims for 3 years I've been making her mad. That's not true, folks. You've been watching me for 3 years. You know, every time I start saying something good for the movie, Miss Fox tells me to shut up and start the movie over. My own channel, I'm on my own movie. You don't control me no more, Miss Fox. You've been drinking so much Black Rifle coffee. I think you do have testicles. I've had enough of this. I could have split wooden nickels. What? You could have spit wooden nickels? No, Kelt, I was mad. Had her last night. Oh, she went crazy. And we weren't even talking about her, but being that she went crazy on me, like the song from Heart, Barracuda. Crazy on you. Oh, wait, that ain't Barracuda. It's Crazy on You. The song Crazy on You from Heart. She went crazy on everybody last night. I was scared. I locked my doors last night. Slept with my 9 underneath my pillow. I was scared. I was pretty scared.
Not use that car to do anything wrong. Someone else may have used it without their knowledge, without their permission, without them ever knowing it was being used at all, to help execute the worst night of their family's life. The car in that lot may be the closest physical evidence investigators currently have to the mind of the person who planned this crime. That is why it stays. That is why the sheriff cleared the family and kept the car. Not because those two facts contradict each other, but because they are telling two completely different parts of the same story. The car in that evidence lot may not be evidence of Annie and Tommaso's guilt. It may be the single most important piece of evidence that leads investigators to the person who is actually responsible. That distinction is everything. It changes the question from what did the family do to what was done to the family's property without their knowledge, and it places the car at the center of the investigation, not as a record of a crime committed by the people who own it, but as a record of a crime committed against them and against their mother and mother-in-law. Former FBI agent Maureen O'Connell, speaking on Megyn Kelly's program on February 27th, the same day Whitney's report confirmed the car was still in evidence, said that the continued hold was...
Are you guys watching this? Do you see all these FBI agents that are, look at her eyes. I think she's morphing right now. It could be a snake lady. Look at her eyes. What's going on here? What is this, Kel? He really freaked me out. I had to leave the movie. I keep telling you folks, you're not cut out for this community. Excuse me. You're not cut out for the movie business. You guys get freaked out too much. And even if this was a real government channel, I'm not going to say that on camera, but if it was a real government channel, you wouldn't be able to handle the pressure. You ladies are beautiful women. You deserve to be at home, relaxing, eating some good food, covered up on the couch, watching a good love story, getting your feet rubbed by your man. You don't need this kind of, aggravation of crime and movies. And you ladies are here on your own cognizance. You ladies are grown adults.
Highly unusual, and that it defied standard protocol for a family that had been publicly cleared. 2 retired federal agents. One says the consent search points toward innocence. One says the continued retention after clearance is highly unusual. Both are telling you the same thing from slightly different angles. What is happening?
Well, what is happening is they're trying to make it sound like something that it never was. Which that's what I'm dealing with on YouTube and the people in chat, whatever. People see through these people, right? They're all Johnny this, Johnny that. Johnny did nothing, not a dang thing. But what are they trying to do? They're trying to establish that Johnny is completely nuts and crazy and is guilty of everything these people want to try and pin on him or whatever. But in reality, Johnny's only sticking up for himself because Johnny's tired of getting ran into the dirt, right? So it's Johnny's fault. Everyone, be good, Johnny. Johnny's been good. It was you people that were saying, be good, that were doing the torturing, the corruption, the thieving, the stealing, the witchery, the sorcery, the magic. I don't really want to go any further with this. Let's continue with this video. The past is the past, and that's all I can say. Now turn yourselves in. Thank you.
Happening with that car does not fit neatly into any standard protocol, and the people who can explain it have not been made to. There is one more dimension to this that we have not yet addressed, and it changes the scope of the question entirely. We have been talking about the sheriff's department making decisions about this car, but there is a second institution involved in this investigation that operates on a completely different authority structure. And that institution does not answer to a county sheriff, does not defer to a local press conference, and does not return evidence on anyone else's schedule. That institution is the FBI, and we need to talk about what their continued presence in Tucson actually means for the car, for the timeline, and for what comes next. Comment below right now. After everything we have just covered, do you think the car is being held because of a tracker, because of something inside it, or because the investigation is pointing somewhere none of the public statements are willing to go yet? Drop your theory. The comment section on this video is where this case gets examined at the level it deserves.
all I can say is we didn't see one dog out there sniffing around. And that in itself is very suspicious because we got all these people looking around for something, and all they had to do was let the dog run around the house, sniff some of Nancy's stuff, and maybe get the scent of the perpetrator. And then the dog could have went ahead and ran wild out there, sniffing around to see if they picked up a scent or whatever, even 2 miles away. But the whole thing is just fishy. And a lot of people are saying something's getting covered up. Does this have something to do with the island? Does it have something to do with a massive dark cult, Covenant or whatever? You know, was it really a church that she went to? And how long was she missing? People thought this just happened because the church is the one that contacted the family and the police saying your mother wasn't at the thing or didn't pay her tithes this night or whatever. So we have no idea. No, when you're dealing with a lot of money like these people have, they buy people off. Bribery, right? When they're trying to do something, when the heat is on them, they're going to try and make it sound like the guy that is putting the heat on these people is the crazy one. But this case is coming 360 back around. And some of these guys had YouTube channels and Facebook accounts and that are suspects. That's pretty crazy if you ask me. Tomas was on social media. The other guys were on social media. Facebook or whatever. No, that was you, Kel. You were saying something last night. I couldn't figure it out what you were saying. You were worried, but then again, you said you were so stoned you weren't sure if you were hearing what you were hearing was even real. And that's when I told you to drink some milk. Come down, whatever you were on. Because you were so stoned. You were like, I'm really stoned, so don't flip me out. And all I did was start talking about stuff, and you got flipped out.
We have always gone our own way with herbs. That's nature's way, uncompromising in the way.
Operation points away from guilt rather than toward it. The DNA recovered from a glove found near Nancy's home did not match any family member. The evidence, as it currently exists in the public record, does not implicate the family. What we are claiming is something more specific and more important and more uncomfortable to sit with. We are claiming that the Pima County Sheriff's Department has made two public statements that have not been reconciled. The first is that the family was cleared and their vehicles were processed, stated February 16th. The second is that the vehicle is still part of the investigation.
I can tell you right now, if these police and everybody said, oh, this was all, yada, 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 and we got federal government investigating it behind their backs and Homeland and everybody, which should be, being that there was rumors of cartels and drugs and stuff like that. And it comes back to, well, this is what happened and the family might have had something to do with it. Boy, these people are going to look at, the American people are going to say, this is the corruption that the government was telling us about. These people covered it up or they overlooked it and knew something was wrong. And, it's the same thing out here going in Indiana and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, is there's bigger dogs. Folks, you folks think police are above everyone, and they're not. There's, believe it or not, that's what the federal government is there for, because, you know, when police departments go rogue, you need someone to bring them in. And you bring in internal affairs or other police departments, or usually FBI will handle it. Now, nowadays, the police are trying to handle their own corruption within the police departments. And they'll send their own police to go arrest someone else, right? One of their own police. And this stuff is real until you folks realize that these people are humans. Just because they have a badge on does not mean they are acceptable. You know, they can't be bribed, or they're just bad people. You know, same thing even with FBI and politics and religion and society. Just because they have a tag that says they're government, or even, you know, preachers, you think, oh, this man's anointed by God. There's no way he's going to do anything bad. And they're dropping like flies today. Preachers are being picked up all over, and churches are being raided. And people don't understand. It's like that was the devil's greatest trick, was making us believe that he don't exist. And the torture that's going on is God doing it, right? The madness it's all God. But it ain't really. God is about love, saving us, and, you know, peace and tranquility and all that. So they're going to look dumb if you know, what if somebody's investigating it behind their back and they're saying, oh no, you know, somebody within the family did this or whatever. It's going to make these people look bad. But they already don't like Arizona police or Tucson police for some reason.
Stated February 27th. Those two statements were made 11 days apart by the same institution. They have never been explained in relation to each other. No journalist has stood at a podium and forced that reconciliation. No press conference has been dedicated to it. The sheriff has not been asked on camera to explain what the word processed means in the context of a vehicle that is still, weeks later, being held as evidence. That is the question this video exists to ask. And here is why it matters beyond this specific car and this specific family. When law enforcement makes a public clearance statement as definitive as the one made on February 16th, when a sheriff looks into cameras and says not one single person in the family is a suspect, we have cleared them, they are victims, the public has a reasonable expectation that the physical evidence associated with that clearance follows the same logic. You cleared the people, you return the property. That is how institutional credibility works. That is how the public is supposed to be able to read law enforcement communications and trust that the words used mean what they appear to mean. When the property is not returned, when 11 days later, the same institution confirms the vehicle is still part of the investigation with no further explanation, it creates a gap. Not necessarily a gap that implicates the family, not necessarily a gap that suggests the sheriff was lying or the investigation is corrupt, but a gap that the public cannot close on its own with the information it has been given, a gap that breeds speculation, a gap that sends people in 17 directions at once, some of them targeting innocent people, some of them generating theories that have no basis in the evidence, all of them filling a vacuum that should have been filled by a clear, honest, institutional communication about what is happening with that car and why. Jennifer Coffindaffer warned about exactly this. Dynamic when she spoke about the defamation risks faced by content creators making accusations without evidence. She was right.
You're so adorable in that cute little can. And that pop-up that you did with that influencer last week, totally cooked.
And the sheriff himself scolded media outlets for reckless reporting. He was right too, but the conditions that produce reckless speculation are not created in a vacuum. They are created when official institutions make statements that are internally inconsistent and then decline to explain the inconsistency. The antidote to bad speculation is not a rebuke of the people speculating. It is a press conference that answers the question. That press conference has not happened. Because the question matters, not just to the people whose car it is, not just to the family trying to understand where their mother is, but to every person watching this case who is trying to build a picture of what actually happened on the night of January 31st. The car is a piece of that picture. It may be the piece that tells investigators how the abductor knew Nancy was coming home that night. It may be the piece that identifies the route they used. It may carry a fingerprint, a trace of DNA, a GPS device, something that the person who took Nancy Guthrie left behind without knowing they left it. Or
I don't know. That seems pretty crazy. Why would they leave some? There's just too many mistakes that were made. 16 pairs of gloves, and then one glove found on the side of the road. And why would the guy leave a tracking device behind? Right? That reminds me, I'm going to take my R upper and sniff my car to make sure these people ain't tracking my car. They're all upset because I don't have a way, they don't have a way to track me. I'm like, you don't need to track me. We're tracking you. So, you know, and all the police cars and everything now have trackers on them. And that's so we can track our own police departments, because we found a lot of these police officers using their vehicles off duty and, you know, getting themselves in trouble or whatever. So, you know, what do? Well, you got to track the vehicles and make sure they're not being used. You know, it's the taxpayers' vehicles. So we got to keep track of what these guys are doing. We love our security and our police, but if they're taking trips and, you know, going halfway around the world and paying for gas on taxpayer money in a police vehicle that should be parked in a garage. Yeah. You know. So things are changing slowly but surely, you know. Then again, you have to have enough manpower to where police don't need to take their vehicles home, right? There's always someone on duty, enough manpower. Because you just don't know anymore. You know, I'm not trying to start trouble. I'm just saying it's reality. This is reality, folks. This is what it is. This is the Lord revealed this stuff, that these people are around us everywhere, within our churches, schools, police departments, everywhere. But why would he be so dumb to leave a tracking device behind? I mean, as soon as they find it, they're going to say, well, someone was tracking her. Here's a tracking device. All right, let me see what's going on in my chat. I hope these women ain't all flipping out again. Oh, Kelty, he wouldn't do that. I know he does do like that, but he won't, because it's a huge sin. No, I would never kill myself. Never. No. No, I don't think so. Not unless I was possessed or something by some demon. But no, I don't think so. No, I don't. Like I said, I'm not suicidal. I've never been suicidal like that. Maybe in my movie that I'm producing on this channel, maybe sometimes I do act like it. There's nothing left for me to do, Cal. I can't keep going this way. No. All right, so this concludes this new evidence. Boy, I'll tell you what, this case is getting crazy, just like Delphi. Just like the Summer Wells case. Debbie's eyes wide open. Well, you ladies keep it together. I think you ladies should take on something else other than crime and movies. It's just too much for you ladies, and it's too stressful for you ladies. Maybe you should join like a YouTube crocheting channel or some crafts or something, or cooking, because this is just too much for you ladies. You can't handle this severe pressure of military training and pressure of military stuff, right? You ladies are cracking. You're beautiful women. You don't belong on the battlefield. You belong at home, being loved by your man or woman or whatever. But this channel's just too much for you ladies. I'm really sorry. It's blacker than blackout. Foggy. No, it's crazy. I feel people I feel the evil energy and around the witchery and sorcery. I feel it. Let me see what Debbie's saying. Maybe you need to join a shuffleboard league at the senior center. No, I'm not that old yet, Debbie. Not that old yet. Well, you ladies really should take up cooking or something like that, or crafts, right? Painting and stuff, like pottery. Pottery is really good. Really, it's a stress reliever. Because I worry about you ladies, and you ladies, you get too upset. I don't want you ladies flipping out and doing anything to yourselves. I'm just looking out for you ladies. This channel's too much. Too much reality. Debbie Fox said, why would she crotch it? I don't know why you would crotch it. I probably would crotch it too. I trained my chicken, Buffy. Well, that's your problem. You need to do more training of your chicken. Crime is not for you ladies. Movies ain't for you ladies. It's not. It's really not. Train your chickens, but train them to be deadly. See, train animals, Debbie. But you're going to have to get out of the crime sector. It's just too much for you ladies. It's too stressful. For one, you ladies are up way too late. For two, you ladies, you end up implicating yourselves. I don't know how. It's just too much for you ladies, really. Delphi's starting to pop back off. Right? Free Richard Allen. No, but now people are bringing around Keegan and bringing up this whole ring. This whole thing is now unraveling. Exactly what we said in the beginning of the case. We got it pretty good. It's the Lord that was sending the signals. The King of Kings. Wasn't me. Debbie, 3 eggs a day is not a lot. You need to sit down and talk with her. She needs to be producing more. Debbie, check on Kelt. Check on Kelt. Make sure she ain't flipped out. She's smoking that grape jelly jar tonight. The fruity fruits. Flavored. Make sure you check on her. She's probably going to have the munchies soon. Well, last night she came in chat and said she was smoking something fruity pooty. And then you sent me a message saying you were doing jelly jam or something like that. Truffles. Well, he's a sicko. You're doing chores right now, Kel, and then you got to pack your lunch. All right, dude. Debbie said sicko. Johnny, you and that jelly jar is sicko. No, that was the smoke you guys were smoking the other day. Fruity jam crunch berries. Fruity bunch crunch berries or whatever you were calling them. Goober grape or something like that, Debbie. Debbie, I'm not no sicko. I didn't even talk about a jelly jar. It was a jelly roll. I said jelly roll. Johnny, nah. You sounded really upset and sad last night. Not at all. I was under demonic attack. I was under demonic attack last night. Dark Covenant I'm battling right now. And I care about you. Oh, I care about you too, Cal, but you get too flipped out. I tried to be there for you. I tried to let you be here, but you were just so stoned you said you were going to sleep. But then I got the sick feeling in my stomach that I was going to hear a bang. Why would you hear a bang? What do you think I am, crazy? Debbie Fox says, God, the jelly jar, and nobody to save me. Debbie, I didn't say jelly jar. I said jelly roll. We were talking about the Ryan Upchurch case. My God, woman, you ladies exaggerate everything. I didn't say that, Colt. That's the problem with these ladies. They're trying to implicate me in the madness that I'm a bad guy, but I didn't say anything about a jelly jar. I said a jelly roll. Jelly roll, Debbie. Not a jelly jar. If a jelly jar fit up there, then I got problems. Kelt, quit it. Quit trying to say that something. Cut it out. I didn't go crazy. I'm working on my movie, and it's hard to work on a movie when I got you people interrupting me saying I'm crazy. No, we are tracking a scammer. Debbie, did you hear what's going on in the community? I think that whole community is going to prison in the Summer Wells division. No joke. Something that they were all part of a racket or something to exploit children or something like that. All right, let me see what Cal's saying. I'm starting to think you might have a food allergy or something. No, I was under demonic attack. We are now actually coming forward and going to be prosecuting people that are using witchery and sorcery and stuff like that. And like I told you, Kel, the CIA for the past 10 years has been investigating this stuff and is now ready to come out and show the world that it's real. And there's a certain way to handle these people. Right? So it's going to be real. I was shocked once I found out that they were done with the investigation, and this whole stuff that you folks are seeing on YouTube and believing and or watching or whatever, that stuff is real. Real as the day is long. Let me see. I started thinking it could be possessed. Well, probably a possessed demon. They said. Well, I think it's from someone else. I think someone else is projecting this to us and to me. They're projecting it to me. Well, I don't know. Could be. Debbie does have food allergies. She is lactate, whatever it's called. She can't drink milk. She's allergic to it. She's allergic to it. Ain't gonna do it. Yeah, she's lactose intolerant. So she's got a food allergy. I don't. I'm just, like I said, Celt, these people been using spells, curses, magic, witchery, sorcery, demons, sending demons to me. And I probably would have been dead if it would not have been for all glory to God Almighty, the King of Kings. Yeah, you ladies go get your chores done. Go do your laundry. I got a movie to make. I got a part in it for all of you.
His car was impounded. His neighborhood was searched. His bandmate was harassed online by people who had already made up their minds. Within days of Nancy Guthrie's disappearance, the internet had a face, a name, a verdict. Tommaso Cioni, the son-in-law, the Italian musician married to Nancy's daughter Annie, became the story. Every YouTube channel, every Reddit thread, every amateur detective with a ring light and a theory. And I get it. I understand why. He was the last person to see Nancy alive. He dropped her off that evening on January 31st, and Nancy Guthrie was never seen again. His car got impounded. His proximity made him visible. Visibility made him the target. But here's the thing that's been sitting with me for weeks. When every pound his car was impounded.
So are they trying to say that was Tomosa's car that they were going through on the street when JLR pulled up? The car that was real close to Carlos's house? You remember that? Let's see what Debbie's saying. Hey, Colt, what do you think about their brother? His eyebrows are so thick. Yeah. So why was Tomosa's car? You see how these, this is what the government is talking about, social media. Because that car that they just showed, and then they said his car was impounded. That was Carlos's car.
His neighborhood was searched. His bandmate was harassed online by people who had already made up their minds. Within days of Nancy Guthrie's disappearance, the internet had a face, a name, a verdict. Tommaso Cioni, the son-in-law, the Italian musician married to Nancy's daughter Annie, became the story. Every YouTube channel, every Reddit thread, every amateur detective with a ring light and a theory. And I get it. I understand why. He was the last person to see Nancy alive. He dropped her off that evening on January 31st, and Nancy Guthrie was never seen again. His car got impounded. His proximity made him visible. Visibility made him the target. But here's the thing that's been sitting with me for weeks. When everyone looks in one direction, when the entire weight of public scrutiny lands on a single person, something else is happening in the space that nobody's watching. There is another person in this family with more unanswered questions than Tommaso Cioni, a person with no verified public alibi for January 31st, a person with no social media, no professional LinkedIn, no second career, no public interviews after 2018, a person with access to everything an insider would need, and a financial reality that makes a $6 million Bitcoin ransom demand tell a very specific story. I am not accusing anyone. I want to be direct about that. But I am asking the questions that I cannot find anyone else asking. And by the end of this video, you are going to have serious questions about why the reality that makes a $6 million Bitcoin ransom demand tell a very specific story. I am not accusing anyone.
All right, we got a different look here at the guy's eyes. No, this seems like a different photo than what we've been looking at. Very interesting. That ain't Tomos. There ain't no way that's Tomos. That's not him. Maybe the first guy that we seen come walking up on the porch. The guy that was there 3 days before the kidnapping that was dressed the same way. But this guy that was on the porch, that's not Tupamos. There's no way that's Tupamos. Yeah, oh, well, if he's into music, then he's surrounded by drugs, Co. That's how the music business works. If he signed a record contract and they had, that's how it is. So the drugs were around him. The people that are crazy were around him. Maybe something went bad. Maybe somebody got kicked out of the band. Maybe it's revenge or something. Maybe. You know, a lot of people are making videos saying it's a revenge of Miss Savannah. Bringing out stories about stuff, even the island. That's not to most. You could tell by the eyebrows. His left eye has a black mark. I don't know. I can't, Debbie, I can't, being I'm on a computer, I can't screen shoot that. So it won't let me blow it up. I don't know. How do you screen shoot something? Hold on a minute, folks. Hold on a minute. I'm trying to see if I can screen shoot that thing. Oh, you sent it? Hold on, Debbie. Let me see. Hold on. All right, hold on a minute, Debbie. Let's see what's going on here. Hold on a minute. I downloaded it, so it might open it up and let me be able to zoom in on it. And then we can look at the face. Can look at these eyes. Okay, it's let me do it. All right, let's look at the eyes here. Hold on a minute, ladies and gents. Let me get back over here. Can you see that? All right, hold on a minute. Let me go to the photo. We go to Windows. Go here. We go here. Boom. Now we can zoom in on his eyes. He's got blue eyes. Who's got blue eyes? His pupils look dilated, huge, but it's dark, and that's what pupils do when it's really dark, or you're on a bunch of drugs like meth or cocaine. Now, it does appear that he's got a mark right here on his left eye, right here. Now, whether that's mascara or something, I don't know. He's got a very wide nose, thin eyebrows, and I do believe he's got blue eyes. I do believe he might have blue eyes. Maybe blue eyes or brown eyes, but I think he's got blue eyes. You can see the pupils are dilated, huge, but underneath the black, you can see like an 1/8 inch of color. I think it might be blue. No, let me see if I can put color to it on my photo. All right, well, it's not giving me a chance. It's a black and white photo, but it's not. It's. I don't know. I really want to know how ring cams change color. Well, it might be in color, but the light that's being flashed onto his face is making it appear black and white, maybe. That might be eyeliner or just someone with dark eyelashes. You can see his eyebrows have been trimmed, or he's got real thin eyebrows. Not real, I mean, they're not real thin, but they're thinner compared to Tommaso. I think he's either got blue or green eyes. His pupils are giant, but like I said, that could be because it's nighttime out. There's only two things that'll do that. Either it's pitch dark out and your pupils get real big, or he's gacking his mind out on meth or drugs or whatever. And that's why he's leaning over and doing all kinds of stuff. He's all tweaked out, maybe. I don't. Let me see if I can zoom in any closer. That is his eye. You can see the pupil is dilated, but around the pupil you can see it's light color. So he might have blue eyes. Bluish, brownish, bluish, hazel, whatever. Greenish, bluish, whatever. There's color in the eyes other than brown. Debbie says that's eyeliner. It might be eyeliner. That gob right above his eye, his pupil. That might be eyeliner. Either that or does he have a scar on his eye? Well, I'm not sure if it's, maybe it is brown. Does that look like he's got brown eyes? Or does it look like a lighter color? Christopher Valdez, dig that, Chris, and the chick all found those light eye guys hot. Oh, Valdez's hair. Hispanics can have blue eyes. I have no idea. Don't come in here being a racist, Valdez. We're not racist, Hispanic guys. It's a woman, Johnny. That ain't no woman. It's not a woman. It's a dude. Even a woman would be smart enough just to cover the whole camera with their hand instead of trying to put their fist up there. It's a dude. It's definitely a dude. It's somebody. It's somebody. To me, it appears that there's a scratch right up here in the corner of his eye right here. You see that? This dark area right here that looks like maybe blood or something up here above his eye. I don't know if you can see my mouse going in a circle, but that looks like blood or something up here, maybe possibly. And maybe down here or something, a scratch. But something's up with his eyes. You can see how big his pupils are here. You know, this black shiny pupil, but underneath it is a lighter color, real light color. Now, that's what it looks like to me, is something up here in the corner of his eye. Right up here is, and this down here underneath his eye right here. To me, it appeared like there was maybe, I don't know. Debbie, don't you think if it was a woman, we would be able to see her hair? This guy might have bags underneath his eyes, Debbie. I think he's got bags underneath his eyes, maybe. So you're saying, don't you think we would hear, even if a woman did this, don't you think we would be seeing the top of her head puff out with all the hair? Even if, okay, let's say, okay, she put her hair back. Well, then where's the bun in the back? Don't you think we would see a bun in the back of or on the top of the head like a bun, like she put her hair up in a bun? Don't she have like a lot of hair? I don't know. I think he's got bluish or greenish eyes or something. Then again, there might be more people there. You know, if they bought all this stuff at Walmart, maybe there was 3 or 4 guys, but they were all dressed the same. Bought everything from Walmart. That's his other side of his eye. Mascara or something, I don't know. I think he's got puffy eyes. Now that we zoomed in on this, he's got puffy eyes, maybe. Like above his eyes are puffy or something, Debbie. Yeah, very interesting. All right, hold on a minute, Deb. Hold on a minute. All right, hold on a minute, Debbie. Now I gotta download that and then open it up. So hold on a minute, little lady. All right, let's go back over here and check it out. I'm gonna pull back on the one. All right, and now I'm gonna go to the other one. All right, let's take a look at Annie. I don't know, Debbie. Maybe. Look at how black her eyes are in here. In the corner of her eyes. I don't know. She does have a thick nose up top here, but maybe. Debbie says Snackapuka eyes. Whatever the heck a Snackapuka is. Somebody's done something with this photo because look at how distorted and blurry it is. Can you tell something's up with the photo because it just don't look right? Maybe, Debbie. She does have a wide nose like in the photo. They're a mask guy. How do you take a photo of that and then overlay it? Can you see me switching photos, Debbie? On YouTube? Can you type yes in the chat if you can see me switching back and forth from the eyes? Well, maybe. Oh, wow. Very interesting. Very interesting. But her eyebrows, Debbie, are more pointed up, unless she changed her eyebrows, right? They're more pointed upwards on a diagonal. They don't come down. But it's possible. Anything is possible. But I would think we would see remnants of a lot of hair on top of her head or behind her. Like if she had her hair up in a bun or something to put a ski mask on. See how these eyebrows, Debbie? I don't know if you can see that or not, but you see how they hook back down? They come up, they come back down. But she might have changed. How long ago was that photo that you just sent me of her? She might have changed her the way she wore her eyebrows now or whatever. And don't she wear glasses? Don't she wear glasses? Does she have contacts? All right, if that's what you feel like you want to do, Debbie, find another photo for us to look at. That sounds good. No, that's like a side view. I don't think it was her. And let me tell you why I don't think it was her, Debbie. Is because, believe it or not, Annie is a pretty thick woman. She got some curves. Do you know what I mean? It's not Annie. I don't think so, because we would be seeing that. Now, there's other people saying, well, hold on, Debbie. I'm looking at that photo. Hold on, Deb. Don't message me while I'm doing this, or whatever you message will pop up instead of these photos. Hold on, let me cancel this. All right, what were you doing? Hold on a minute. All right, Deb, hold on. Excuse me. Hold on a minute. All right, now you can see her eyes better. She's got blue eyes. But Miss Annie Guthrie's, she got some junk in the trunk. You know, or junk in the trunk, as they say. Yeah, but not like Miss Annie. If you see the interviews she just put out, she's a thick woman. And thick is beautiful. I'm not trying to put her down. Thick is beautiful. And I think we would see that. And she's not tall like they're saying the person is. But I could be wrong, and you might be right, Deb. Hold on, I'm eating some rice puff cereal. But are you telling me she put a mustache on? Plus her lips are too full, Debbie. She's got real full. Hold on a minute. Yeah, she's. Hold on a minute. Let me download this one now. Open it up so we can see. Yeah, you can see. Let's look at her legs. Yeah, she's got huge legs. Nothing wrong with that, Miss Annie. Big is beautiful. I just don't think we're seeing that. I don't know. I could be wrong, Debbie, but I could be wrong, Debbie, but hold on, man. My question is, what'd she do with all this hair? What did she do with all this hair? Wouldn't you think we would see that underneath the ski mask? It's possible. You know, if she did something with her hair, I don't know. You ladies know what they do with hair. How would she hide all that hair? Hold on, Deb. There's Porch Guy. All right, hold on a minute. Let me find a photo. Hold on, I think I got one up porch guy. Let me find it. Hold on a minute. There's full body guy. I don't think that's her. There ain't no way that's a woman. Where'd her boobies go? Where's all that hair on that woman, on Annie? You can tape booties or boobies down. I don't know. I don't know what you women do, but you really think that's a woman? I mean, it could be. I'm not going to take it off the table. But it looks like Annie's a lot thicker, like in the waist and in the legs. Yeah, anything is possible, Debbie. If I taught you anything on this channel, it's that anything is possible, even my dreams could be coming true here real soon. I might be doing what I was born to do. Produce music and movies and direct and all that. Action. Hold on a minute, I'm getting a lead in right now. That's the photo I have already. Debbie, you sent me a photo I already had. Notice how dude stands. Yeah. Off to the side. Who else did we see standing like that? That was interviewed on camera. Anyone? Anybody? Does anyone remember who that was standing like that? Debbie Fox says, Ernie. Maybe that's why they picked him up. He went into the future and did this. Maybe. But if this is a cold case, like some people think, then it's very well possible it could have been Shellinator. I really don't think that's little. That's Annie Guthrie. It's a dude. I think it's a dude. But Debbie could be right. She could have taped her breasts down. She could have taped her legs up with cellophane. Wrapped her legs with cellophane to make her appear skinnier. They took cellophane and wrapped her boobs. Put the mask on. What'd she do with the hair? I don't know what she did with the hair. Maybe she took the hair and stringed it over the front of her face to make it look like she had a mustache. And then all cellophaned up, her legs, her calves, her breast. She's got big boobs. Her breast and everything flattened out. And then she put all this stuff on. It's no wonder she was waddling around like the kid from the Christmas Story when his mom dresses him all up. He could barely move. Maybe. Anything's possible. We're not taking it off of the table here. What do you think we are, the United States government or the court system? We don't take anything off of the table. Not unless it's been dissected, taken apart, and then put back together. It could be. I think it's numerous, probably. Numerous people had a hand in it. I thought that black thing there was a suitcase or something. But it turns out, I guess it's a flower pot or something. And everyone's like, look at that light. There's a light right there. It could be a car. I'm like, no, it ain't. That's the lamppost that's in the front of her house. She has a lamppost in the middle of that driveway. And that's what we're seeing is that light on in the lamppost. And then she had two lights on. Her porch lights were on before you even get into the four-way there, the where the door is. She had two giant spotlights on the end or on the side, lantern lights that were on. That was casting the shadow onto the ground. Everyone was saying it was a full moon. A full moon wouldn't cast a shadow like that. And that the shadow was because she has them lights on in the front yard. And does it shock me that the lights are on? No, not when an 84-year-old woman's living there. I would expect for her to have her porch lights on. Usually these older ladies do that. They'll leave their porch light on because if someone comes and knocking, they're not going to answer the door. What are they going to do? They're going to look out the window or their camera or whatever so they can see who it is. Small fist. Yeah, I think they got the height wrong. I think he's anywhere from 5'8", 5'7" to maybe 6 foot. Maybe 6 foot, depending on how far he is back from the camera. Also plays a part on making him appear smaller or bigger than he really is. You remember in Delphi case, what did they say? When they first put it out, they said the guy was anywhere between 5'8" or something like that and 6 foot. And then it comes to find out Richard Allen was only 5'6". Chadwell was only 5'6" or shorter than that, maybe. Yeah. I want want to zoom in on this photo real quick. That's the reflection, I believe, of the street sign that's right in front of her house where you turn up to go to this house. But people are saying, what are these lights up there? Could they be headlights? No, there's a house up there. We can see it when we do an overhead of the house. That there's a house up there. This here, this light here, I believe, this little dot that this guy's looking at, or everyone's saying, "Oh, that could be a car." I think that's the street lamp that she has in the front of the driveway. What the heck is this? It looks like a flower pot, right? But what's this down here on top of the rock or whatever? It's like something right here. I don't know if you can see my mouse right here. Looks like there's something sitting there on top of the rock. Now look at how his forearms are real round and straight. This is his forearm right here. His elbow goes up. Right, his elbow's right here, and then it goes up to his shoulder. But look at how round and straight this is. This is fishy. This is almost like he put his arms through tubes or something and then put his jacket on over it, because look how straight this is and round and full it is, like there's something wrapped around his forearms. I don't know. This is kind of fishy. And there's a little bit of a wrinkle here on the jacket. Something's underneath the jacket or something right here, like a watch or something, or something's in there. But this is just too straight and too, no, almost like maybe a shin guard pad, or maybe like a forearm pad or something. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys were ever in sports or anything, but they had these shin pads, and you would put them on your shins, right below your knee. Maybe an elbow or a forearm pad or something, but it seems pretty round and pretty straight or something. Debbie said it's a fake arm. It could be a fake arm. This photo could be flipped. He might not have a right arm, but it would be a left arm. If the photo was flipped. But see, here's what's crazy. We're seeing white over here around his arm, around his wrist. Oh, we're not seeing any white here on this hand. Zoom out a little bit more. And when you go to blow it up too big, it gets way whacked out. Debbie says he's got a small hand. He's got his hand cupped and with his thumb on the outside. Here's his other hand holding a gun. There's the gun. The only thing that I'm wondering, is it real or was it an aerosol gun? Is my question, was it real or aerosol? What is this object in his, is it under his pants? Or is there something in his pocket here? It's very long and it, right here. This is just weird. It just looks like either the clothes are way too big or something's up. But do you see that, Debbie, right down here? I don't know if that's like a bulge of something coming out or maybe just the clothes, the pants or whatever, being too big. Kelt, do you see that? If Kelt's still here watching, you see that? Oh my God, I gotta go get my clothes and put them in the dryer. My clothes are in the washer. I put them in the washer before I started this, and then came, did this, and forgot. My God, it's 10:30. I gotta go put my clothes in the dryer. Debbie, can you hold the fork down for a minute? I'll be right back. Yeah, someone's trying to kill me too, Kelt. I'm with you. All right, I'm back. I had to go put my clothes in the dryer. Now I gotta wait an hour. I knew I was forgetting something. The whole time I'm sitting there, I'm like, I know I did something and I'm supposed to do something. And then I remembered my clothes. Someone is trying to kill me. He created so much stress. I'm going to get sick and no insurance. I will die within 2 years. We're all gonna. Who's the guy trying to kill you now? Debbie says, hurry up. Yeah, let's split the pants. What? Yes, just the build of the pants. I don't know. Looks like there's something in his pocket or something here. Kel, what's going on? Who's trying to kill you now? Is it one of these crazy YouTubers? Why would anyone want to kill you in the first place, is my question. That's my question. Why would anybody try and kill you? What do you know? You know something about something? Kelf was, what is going on? That's what I'm asking her, what's going on? Who's trying to kill you? She's out there, out west, out there by JLR. Is it JLR? Is it the wild man himself? Let's see. Let's let her explain who it is. What's going on, Kelty? It is Dolly. Dolly Vision? What's going on, Kel? Come on. Tell Johnny. Do you know Johnny? Johnny, my son to be ex-husband, or my soon to be ex-husband, will want me dead, or wants you dead. Why? Are you sure? He is trying to kill me. Are you sure? Or are you completely baked out of your biscuit and making my family homeless too? What did you do, Kel? He's evil. Is he? This is 100% positive. What's his name? Kel said, no weed yet. That's your problem. You're having withdrawals, woman. I'm taking it serious, though. He will be happy to kill me. You have someone there with you, right? You have a partner that lives with you, so you should be okay. He has no name. Oh, yeah, here we go. Store just like all my exes that lived in Texas. It's always the guys that are trying to kill the women, but we're getting hip to these women are just as crazy as the men. No, Kel, what's his name? Yeah, Debbie don't want to. Debbie, she don't want to tell his name. She's worried, scared to death. Her ex-husband's going to kill her. But I just said, what's his name? And she's like, he don't have a name. Okay, this explains it. Too many kush-kushes. You've been smoking tonight, woman. Kel says, it is serious, my friend. I do not make enough to survive. Court is only giving me so much, and I will lose the house. Then kids will have no home. And the streets are horrible. And prolonged, he wants me dead. Did you tell this to the authorities? Do you want me to call up out there, out west? Get you some protection? I thought you had a significant other that was living with you. Right? You were telling me, hush, he will hear you. Don't talk so loud, Johnny. He's home. Who are you talking about? The heck is this one? This is the problem with us women. Now we're going to stick our neck out on this one and call the authorities out west. And then they're going to look at us like, are you crazy? No. No. She might be in danger. Can you check on her? And we'll get the response we always get on this channel. Take your medicine, Johnny. And then 3 days later, we'll see that she's deceased or missing. I'm telling you, Kelt, I'm working against a lot of demonic people. Some people are saying politicians involved, churches, demonic churches, all kinds of stuff. We're working against her. I said too much. 2 strangers are in here. What do you mean 2 strangers are in here? In your house? Debbie, can you find out what's going on? Are people in her house? Get off of YouTube and call 911, Kelt. That's the problem with these women. They're talking to people. They should be on the phone with 911. He wants me dead. Who? I am not in danger like that. It's prolonged abuse, 24 years of emotional abuse. And now he's destroying me financially. He is happy. He is hurting me more. He wants me dead. No, in chat. Now 1. I don't need 911. Kelt, oh my God, I am going to throw up. I would too, because this is what I'm talking about. Now we're going to stay up all night worried that Miss Kelt is in danger. She's saying she's not in danger, but she's giving off signs that she might be. Kelt, I want you to look at something. Is this the person you're talking about? Let me see. Kelt said, no one is coming to my house to hurt me. This is prolonged abuse. No, I've been abused since I was out of the womb. What do you mean? Every time I got a spanking and I did something wrong, it was prolonged abuse. No. And she's laughing. This woman is driving me nuts. So you're perfectly safe. You're at home alone. There's not 2 strangers in your house with you right now. Is that what you're saying? You're perfectly fine? I don't know why us men have to go through this. But we do, because we love women, so we go through it. Of course, we're always pushed out in front of the bullet or knife or whatever it is. But let me see what Kelt's saying. But it feels, I will die soon, but not today. Oh my God, we're dealing with another Doug Carter. You want to know what we know. And one day you will. But today is not that day. Oh my God. We can stop talking about it now. No, we can't. Debbie Fox says, we can send JLR over there. That's exactly what she wants. God, she wants JLR and my stolen Godzilla to come over to her house. Give me that back, JLR. It's not yours. Kelt says, exactly, Johnny. Today's not the day. I don't know what the day she's talking about. Hopefully that day never comes. But Debbie's going to send JLR and his pocket full of rockets over to your house. Make you feel better. Get rid of them 2 strangers in your house. You know, I don't know who it is. I don't know who the Mask Avenger is, nor do I even really care anymore. We've done enough videos on it. Debbie Fox said, Johnny, shh, let's get back to dude. No, dude, What am I shushing about? She's been in here saying she's got a man or a woman or a significant other or whatever. But now she's saying her ex-husband, which she refuses to tell us his name, but she's deathly scared. And it ain't making sense. Debbie, I think you need to shut it, or whoever you are. Shut it up, Debbie. I think both of you ladies need a vacation from this channel. At least I need a vacation from you. No, Debbie. No, you shut it and take a vacation. I'll run my own channel like I've been doing for the past 20 years here. While you go take a vacation, you and Kel, with some crazy guys and her ex-husband and everybody else that you're with, okay? Call me when you get back from your vacation.
It contains something else entirely, something we do not know about, something the sheriff's department has deliberately chosen not to address in any of its public communications about this case. Either way, the car is not a footnote. It is not a procedural loose end that will resolve itself in a press release. It is a central, unaddressed, officially confirmed piece of a federal kidnapping investigation, and the institution holding it has offered 6 words of public explanation in 31 days. The vehicle is still part of the investigation. 6 words for a car that connects the last known safe moment of an 84-year-old woman to the night she was taken from her own home. For a car that was held up by the same sheriff as evidence of the family's cooperation and clearance. For a car that a 28-year FBI veteran thinks may carry the forensic fingerprint of the person who planned this abduction. 6 words. The last thing we want to leave you with is this. The investigation is, according to the sheriff himself, moving closer to a suspect. That means the forensic work being done au fait scene on the gloves found near the home, on the doorbell footage, on the DNA, on the range of vehicles being held and examined is producing something. Results are coming. The net is tightening in whatever direction it is tightening. And when the answer finally breaks publicly, when investigators name a suspect and build a case for trial, one of the first questions a defense attorney or a prosecutor will answer in front of a judge is, what was in that car and what did it tell you? We do not have that answer tonight, but the question is on the record, and it is not going away. The sheriff said the family is cleared. The evidence lot says the car is still there. 15 days between those 2 statements, no explanation given, no question asked publicly, no answer demanded from a podium. Jennifer Coffindaffer, 28 years at the FBI, says the consent search means no probable cause was ever established against the family. Says the car may hold the forensic trace of someone else's planning, someone who treated that vehicle as a surveillance tool without the knowledge of the people who owned it. Says this is evidence of a crime committed against the family, not by them.
Yeah, now you idiots are really stretching it. So you're telling me that the killer or these kidnappers used Tomasos's car without Tomaso ever knowing, right? Well, then that would have to be somebody that knew Tomas and Annie, and they would have the answer to this key. Who drives your car? Do you borrow it to any of your friends, Tomaso or Annie? So that's a bunch of bull croco. Let's check and see if Kelt is still alive, because she's half goobity. And now we're all trying to kill her, she said. Oh, well, let's just see how this is going. What does she say? Oh, we know about good old Confidolfi. I have no idea what the hell she's talking about, but it sounded good, so we'll go with it. She sounds good until you remember some of her Delphi comments. People can put Apple trackers on a car. It's crazy. Yes, that's true. I'm still alive, you booby. I don't have no boobies. If I did, I wouldn't be here talking to you people right now. I could tell you that. But there's no need for strong words like booby. That broke me. That hurt right here. Close to my heart. Close to my heart.
Her reading of the evidence points toward a perpetrator who was methodical, prepared, and watching, not a family that cooperated in every way they were asked and gave up everything investigators requested. Maureen O'Connell, FBI, speaking on record February 27th, says the continued hold is highly unusual, that it defies standard protocol for a family that has been this publicly, this completely, and this formally cleared by the law enforcement agency running the investigation. The sheriff told NBC News on March 3rd that his investigators are definitely closer. Closer to what exactly? The car may already know. Nancy Guthrie is 84 years old. She requires daily medication. She has been gone for 31 days. She is somebody's mother. She is somebody's grandmother. She is a woman who spent her last safe evening having dinner with the people she loved most, and she deserves to come.
I'm going to tell you, this government and this police force and FBI and everybody, you have no proof that she even went to dinner that night. You are producing no proof other than hearsay from people that you are saying are suspects. Now, I don't know what kind of drugs you are smoking out there, police force and investigators, but you yourselves ain't making sense. And I really don't even want to say no more because I'm already upset that I got to do everything in this country already. And I'm poor. So therefore, it explains everything to me. Do these people even know what the heck they're talking about? Probably not. Probably not, because they're being paid to lie. So that explains a lot of our troubles in this world. What do? Well, we can't do what I want to do because the government fails. It's too extreme, Mr. Kramer. It's just, you want us to turn this world into plasma? That's right. They've all gone nuts. It's our only hope. No, I don't know. Yes, you hurt me, Debbie, or Kelt, when she said I'm a booby. I don't have boobies. Like I said, if I did have boobies, I wouldn't be here talking to you folks. No. Yes, Debbie, the things you said to me hurt me last night. Broke my heart. If you wouldn't have said that, we probably would have been making love right now. But because you said that, we're not. So that's your own fault. You could have had all this. But until you change your ways and learn how to treat me with respect like a man, this relationship will continue to go nowhere. Let's see what Debbie said. You broke my heart full. No, you broke my heart first. That's right. That's right. Now let's continue this video. You broke my heart, Debbie.
I'm home. And somewhere in a Pima County evidence lot, the car that drove her there on that last ordinary night is sitting under a fluorescent light, holding whatever it holds, waiting for someone with the authority and the will to make it speak, and for the question it represents to finally get the answer it deserves. The car is the question. The empty podium is the answer that has not come. Call 1-800-CALL-FBI if you know anything, if you saw anything, if someone told you something and it has not left your mind since.
What has left my mind is none of your business, and what hasn't left is how this has gone this far with this idiotic stuff of the same people that are innocent that were. It's just, I can't deal with it no more. It's even a mind bender to me how this has gone this far. But all I can say is this is what happens when police get comfortable with their jobs. Why go out and do the investigation? Why lock down the house? Why do we got these YouTubers that practically we solved the case already, and they're like, why should we spend our money and time when we'll just watch YouTube and we'll go from that? Which basically that's what they're doing, because the first statements the police came out with, they had no idea they were even talking. The family was even talking to a hostage situation. They didn't even know what was going on. How are videos being put out of the family members talking to hostage holders, and the FBI and the police don't even know that was happening? That was the first statement they had. We had no idea they were even communicating with a hostage situation. Somebody explain this to me. I will. You made a grab for the money, and the American citizens are not happy, whether you are government or not. You're scam artists. You've been getting away with murder for way too long. And he who controls the airwaves controls people's minds. We know that. That's why we're creating our own TV programs and TV stations and everything. Because that's exactly what you folks been doing for many years, is called MK Ultra mind control. And how do I know that? Because my grandpappy was in it. That's how I know. Military. You're a bunch of idiots. You understand me? You're a disgrace to the country, all is, for trying to pull over this stuff on American citizens. Half of the stuff you guys are carrying around our grandpappies already created in labs and scientists at NASA. And you're a bunch of idiots. Nobody has any respect for anything anymore. And that's why we created our own organizations to protect us from idiots. And all I can see on this earth is idiots. Bunch of idiots. Let me get back to my chat. Don't you dare tell me that, Debbie. Now you're breaking my heart saying that to me. You won't talk to anybody. I've talked to anybody that listens with a brain. The empathy problem is caused. The sheriff is lazy. And, well, I agree with you. But how dare you say that to me? Excuse me. Excuse me. Sheriff is hoping this blows over and doesn't affect his politic appraise. What? Let me move over so I can see. I can barely see the screen. Aspirations, but Tucson is a socialist cesspool, so he is sure to win again. I can safely say I don't think Porch Guy was Tommaso. Debbie Fox says, I thought it from the beginning. No, you said Tommaso. Oh my God, this woman. You said you think Tommaso has something to do with this. That's what she said. Oh, let me get back to her. Lame is saying, agree with Miss Debbie. Well, who else would you agree with, Kel? Who else would you agree with in this situation but Debbie Fox? Debbie Fox says, "You such a dork, Johnny. Put your glasses on." I did think that. You thought he was guilty. You called me asking if I can go pick him up. And I was like, I'm doing laundry right now. And you're like, I don't care. I'll pay for the gas and everything you need and all the weapons, reimburse you for the concussion bombs and everything else that I would need to break into his house and pull him out of there. But I had laundry to do. So I refused to do that job. I would have arrested him. I would have flashbanged the whole house. But there was kids there, so I probably wouldn't have flashbanged it. I probably would have watched the house when the kids went to school. Then I would have flashbanged the house. On the ground. I would have kicked in the door. Let me tell you something, Tommaso. I don't need no sticky badges. And then I would have pulled him out of there. I would have drove him myself down to the police station. Here he is. Unless Debbie Fox wanted me to deliver him to her front door. But whatever the job was and I was getting paid for, I would have got done. I definitely would have used flash grenades, concussion grenades and everything. Right? That stuns the brain and everything. You're like, boom, 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 boom. Your brain's just thumping. Boom, 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 boom. Whole body in there. Let's see what Kel's saying. Have you guys read there's a runner across the street from Nancy that is refusing to turn over her security camera? Couldn't FBI go to court and order it? Yes, Lynn. Yes, they could subpoena her to court and her camera. And even if she deletes the footage, it's still in the servers and everything. Is Johnny cutting out or is it my internet? No, I'm good. I'm here. Can you hear me? Kelp, can you hear me? Kelp, can you see me? Kelp, can you hear me? Kelp, can you see me? That's like a spinoff of the Who song, Tommy. Tommy, can you hear me? But I was using Kelt instead. I don't know if you know that, Kelt. What's with the woman? Is she afraid of what's on it? Is she insane or just a horrible person? I think she's probably just a horrible person. What woman are you talking about? Are you talking about Debbie? Oh, she's completely crazy and very violent. She said if I didn't shut up, she was going to put me in a suitcase when I was covering that one case where the lady put her boyfriend in a suitcase. And Debbie was threatening me, saying, if you don't shut up, I'm going to put you in a suitcase, Johnny. And I was like, I don't take the threats easy. I'm from Chicago. And she's like, I don't care where you're from, but I'm going to put you in a suitcase if you don't shut up. And I'm like, go for it. She went for it. Yeah, Debbie, remember when you said you were going to put me in a suitcase? We were covering that one case. Debbie's like, what the? Really? Yeah. I said, have you ever been in a suitcase? Debbie, you were trying to push me in the suitcase. You were telling me, look in the suitcase, there's something in there. Trying to get me close to it so you can throw me in the suitcase. You were threatening if I didn't shut my mouth that you were going to throw me in the suitcase and I'll be next. That's what you said. I think so. I think so, if I remember correctly. She was going to throw me in a suitcase. Some woman put her boyfriend in a suitcase and he died. And Debbie was like, if you don't want that to happen to you, Johnny, you best shut up. What? That's what she said to me on live TV. That was on live TV. She don't care. All I know is I was going to be her next victim that night. And I wasn't going to be that victim. So I showed up. Women scare me.
One call, subscribe to this channel, share this video with every person you know who is following this case, and come back because we are covering this case until it is solved, until Nancy is home, until the question of that car gets the answer it deserves. We are not going anywhere. Subscribe, share. We will see you in the next video.
Uh-oh, we got tornadoes today.
So the severe warning that they put on Fixable Eric along I-40. Yeah. Possible tag on it. Nice. It's looking better. Look at this radar, folks. You can see a hook-like appendage on the southern periphery of our storm is forming. It's starting to get some cyclonic curvature to it. It may have to go east and south. Or just wait for it to come up to I-40, but our storm is rapidly organizing.
All right,
approaching
folks.
I-40 right now.
We got live coverage of a tornado that's happening right now. Please take cover.
You can get into all the tight spaces. Casey Billings, Team Dominator, Storm Recovery, is working the camera. He has got very smooth hands.
Take cover if you can.
Steady arm.
We got a massive storm coming through. It looks like it's producing a beaver tail.
This thing is not done yet. Look at that couplet. It's trying to get its act together, moving into that favorable environment. 2.3 miles before we get to I-40. Echo Thompson got me pretty good.
Tornado warning. Please get to shelter. There's beaver tail all over.
We can go to the front. Some popping of the road there.
Very serious storm.
We're going to go east on 40 and get back into this thing.
Ooh. Lightning. You ladies be safe out there. Ooh, this tornado is actually happening with Quito, where the twister movie was filmed, Debbie. This is happening right now, live. We're going to check it out right now over at the kids channel.
People to see and things to do. You may have already gotten vaccinated for flu and COVID-19, but other respiratory illnesses are still out there. If you're 50 or older, even if you're healthy, it may be important to help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia. And if you have certain health conditions, it may be important.
Somebody with a caco did something. I don't want nothing to do with that. Get it out of here. Send that back in Jesus' name. All glory to God. This is happening in Wakita as we speak right now, Debbie. In Wakita. Unbelievable. We're over at the kids channel. Max Velocity, I think it is.
All right, let's look at these damage
Oh, no, wait, this ain't
polygons
Max.
here.
Is it?
We've got a damage area from Elijah showing. You see the big gray area? This is our estimated track of where this tornado has gone so far. And a concerning thing about this is we've got this other severe storm that's just went past McWillie, and it's moving into the damage path, right? So if we've got people out here that have lost a roof, for example, you're about to get hit by another storm that's packing 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. So, everybody should know this in Helena, all the way up to Jet, Nash, and everywhere in between. If you're in Wichita, Kansas, you're okay for now. Do not panic. This storm is still well to your south. We will let you know when it's time to worry in Wichita. There's nothing to worry about right now in Wichita. And the PDS tornado warning has been downgraded. So we've just got a regular tornado warning now.
Well, that's that. All right, folks. This is, boy, it's 11 o'clock at night. It feels like 3 o'clock in the morning. I wonder if we should have a peaceful fire tonight, but I don't want to flip you ladies out. You ladies are all having troubles. Celts, telling me, I wish you'd tell me what your ex-husband's name is just in case something happens, Celt. We can say, hey, her ex-husband, Jim Toe Bob, she was worried about. Right? So I want, and we're worried about your ex-husband. You could be over here in my chat and your ex-husband think that you're with me. And the next thing you know, your ex-husband's trying to kill me. Maybe them card readers were right. Maybe them card readers were right. They are trying to kill me. Is your boyfriend's name Fat Tony Goloski from the Sinaloculos? That's what I thought. I think I'm going to end this video. I'm pretty much done for today. Whatever happens, happens. That's all I can say about you ladies. I have a good night. I might come back later with a fire. I told you ladies, leave me alone, and you refused to, so look at my sack. How's that? Now have a good night. God bless. And don't call me when your legs are chopped off. Good night.